participants. So we.
Good evening. Good evening.
Srinivasa Gopal, I am going live just to verify. Check. Srinivasa Gopal, check whether I am going live.
Sure, sir.
Check.
So this is majorly a platform where we invite all young politicians from various political parties who have a political inclination and who want to take up politics as one of their careers to come learn and understand how the political system actually works, and then take it to. Yes. Yeah,
is it going live?
So we are on live, sir. We are on live.
Okay.
We are on live.
So
you check out Twitter, Facebook, NGPL site. All the three you check.
So as we have already mentioned on our email, we are the brainchild of Sansad Ratna Awards Committee, which gives awards on an annual basis for the best performing parliamentarians. So we've been giving it consecutively for last 10 years, and this being the 11th year, we've just announced our awards for this year. So consecutively 11 years. We've done it in association with IIT Madras, and last year we did it with association at the Raj Bhavan, Chennai, and where the governor was the guest of honor for us. And then this year we've just released the award list, and we are looking up to the this corona to settle a little better, so that we would prefer doing it in the Constitution Club in Delhi this year. So this is a little understanding, and so we've been the awards are given completely on their merits. We take the data from Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and the PRS India. We do the analysis back end, which is transparent, and we also have a jury committee which is headed by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, and we also have members from from Kerala. We have Premachandran sir, and we have Appa Barne sir from Shiv Sena. So this is a committee which is overseeing this awards, which is being awarded on an annual basis. So this is a little background about what we're doing. And so having so many MPs with us who are really extraordinarily performing well, and most of them who are not even been noticed. So we thought that we should take this energy from them and give it to the next level, so that the next generation learns from these young, achievers in the parliament, so that it is easier for us to build a progressive and an optimistic political system for future. So that's the reason we started with this next gen political leaders. We've been successfully doing it for about a couple of years. We've just got registered it as an NGO. And though we've not been doing much of webinars, because thanks to Corona, we're now coming on the webinar these days. So we were doing it in chapters. We were having physical events for a while now. So now that this lockdown, we have taken to our advantage, and we are coming up with much of webinars. We just finished a certification course for young politicians who are aspirants and who are in the political system. Across India, about 30 students have been with us, like participants, if I may say, 30 participants were with us. It was an 8-day program wherein we got best of the MPs, MLAs, bureaucrats, judiciary authorities to come take class. We had an assessment done, and it was a third-party assessment. And then the marks were given and the certificates distributed in that front. So that's how it has been. So in that front, we thought we will have to talk to young leaders like you to take us further, give your insights in making this organization go to the right aspect of what we want to do. So today, the discussion will be completely apolitical to both the speakers. So it'll be completely be apersonal. So we will not raise any personal or political based questions. But yes, we would surely want to know at your crisis time, how did you go through, and like what are the leadership qualities which we have to learn as youngsters. So that's how we would want to take today's day along. So are there any suggestions from your end so that we can just keep it?
No, not really.
Okay, answer from you?
I think it sounds good.
Right, okay. So we'll just start by 5 dots, probably in a couple of minutes now. So technically now we have people from across party lines, and we've kept the participation for NGPL. To be a part of NGPL, you actually have to be till about 45 years. So that's what we've kept it, if we can define it as young. So that's what we've been doing. And there are a few of our participants who have contested elections, and they are still contesting elections. So kind of we try our bit to give them the right way, the right orientation to take up themselves in the political arena. So in the small way, that's how we keep going. and probably in a minute from now we will start. So Srinivasan sir, is there something for you to share?
No, you have told everything. It is a youngsters forum. And Gopal, are you ready now? You are watching? Live is going?
Yes, I'm watching this. Live is
Srinivas
going on.
Gopal? Huh?
It's going on. It's going on, sir. We are on live.
Okay. We can start sharp at 6 o'clock. Oh, sorry,
5, sir.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, stroke of 5. Can I start now, sir?
Yes, you can start now.
Okay. A very warm welcome to all our participants, live audience, and our special guests. I'm Priyaka Rahul, National President, Next Gen Political Leaders, who will take you through this program. May I request Mrs. Susan Koshi, Editor-in-Chief, Presents, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Priya. Attitude is a set of emotions, beliefs, and behavior of a person towards people, events, and experiences. It reflects the person's character. One's attitude influences one's actions in life, and the right attitude induces a positive outcome. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this evening's webinar on grooming leaders with the right attitude. To speak about this critical aspect in leadership, we have an esteemed panel of 2 honorable members of parliament, Ms. Priyaka Chaturvedi and Mr. Mohan Naidu. Welcome, madam. Welcome, sir, to the program. I also welcome all the invitees and attendees to this event using the platforms of Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and the NGPL website. Enjoy the evening, and I hope you take home valuable inputs from this evening's informative session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Every organization will be mentored, guided, supported by the captain of the ship. And here we have Mr. Prime Point Srinivasan, Chairman, Next Gen Political Leaders, to brief and walk through our work. Sir, over to you.
Good evening, honorable members of parliament and our friends in the Zoom, friends outside watching the live. It is my great honor and pleasure to walk you through NGPL. NGPL, Next Gen Political Leaders, a non-profit public trust and NGO, was formed in October 2018 as an offshoot of Sansad Ratna Awards. And it is also one of the 5 initiatives of our e-magazine Presents. The e-magazine Presents was launched in March 2006 on the suggestion of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam for a positive journalism. From that day till date, we are running this monthly digital-only e-magazine without break. Until last month, June, we have published 160 monthly editions, and it is available on our site. And this has got 5 initiatives. The first initiative is Educational Loan Task Force. This e-magazine is published by Prime Point Foundation, for which I am the founder and chairman. And Educational Loan Task Force, through which we are creating an awareness about educational loan among the parents and students every year. And this was started in 2009, again on the suggestion of Dr. Abdul Kalam. At the time, we were very close with Dr. Abdul Kalam. We are mentored by him. And through Educational Task Force, we have at least responded to more than 30,000 queries. We are operating only digitally, and more than 5,000 queries have been taken up with the respective bank chairman for redressal. And we have also taken up with the parliament through members of parliament like you. Whenever there are problems, we have Sansad Ratna awardees and people like you. We disturb you for that, so that you can also take up raise this in the issue with the parliament and with the government. So far, we have been trying to do some sort of a justice and taking up with the government authorities. Number 2 is Sansad Ratna Awards. Sansad Ratna Awards is a very prestigious flagship initiative of our magazine Presents. This was also started on the initiative of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in 2010, who himself inaugurated the first edition. That means wherever there are politicians and parliamentarians, as a civil society, we always accuse them, we always blame them for not doing so many things. But unfortunately, we never, as a civil society, we were never in the habit of saying, hello, you have done a good job, thank you, at least a small pat, at least a small clap, because we have never been doing that. So what it would happen is even a good parliamentarians may get discouraged. That's what Dr. Abdul Kalam was telling us. So we thought that we can encourage them by just saying a clapping on their nothing beyond that we can do. We sit on the gallery as a civil society. When somebody sixer, when they put it, we just clap and whistle. That's all we do it. And it is a transparent process through which we have been our jury committee of eminent parliamentarians. Now it is headed by Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, with the members Mr. N.K. Premachandran and Mr. Srirangappa Bharne. And they themselves are the Sansad Ratna awardees, Sansad Maharatnas of the previous years, outstanding parliamentarians. Every year we do that. And Abdul Kalam ji used to be very active in that. He used to guide us on this till the last day. And when we are having so much of debate, so far we have conducted 10 editions. The last jointly with the IIT, the 10th edition was held at Rajbhavan, Chennai, in the with the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu presiding over. And the 11th edition, we are shortly going to hold it at Delhi, because we planned it on July 29. Because of this corona, we have cancelled that. But of course, we have released the names of which Mr. Mohan Naidu Garu also is one of the Sansad Ratna awardees. And because we are having an eminent parliamentarian, good parliamentarian, we thought that we can get their support and their knowledge to the younger generation, because there is a leadership is lacking in the political side also. And people are not coming to politics. Everywhere we are saying that no, dirty politics, don't come to politics, don't come to politics, don't talk politics. Whether it is a school or anywhere, don't talk about tea shop. Even in the tea shops, they put don't talk politics. But politics is the main thing that happens everywhere in the world over. That's the politics is running the country. It's the philosophy. The people should know the right thing of a politics. And because of that, and even in the textbook, we don't talk about the politics. So what happens is with the result that politics is being ignored. We thought that we wanted to encourage youngsters to come into politics with the right attitude. And particularly women also should join, because there is a lot of hesitation among the women, we understand. Having gone through so much of women, they are hesitant to enter into politics. So with that, we thought that we can start a NGPL, Next Gen Political Leaders. We started in October 2018. Until now, we have conducted a lot of seminars and workshops and even interactive sessions. Even in Delhi, we took our members to Parliament Darshan. Then we recently conducted an online workshop for across the nation. 25 participants of young leaders, they participated, and even leaders like Bhadragiri Madhav, N.K. Premachandran, and Mr. Meghwal ji, all people participated, and T.S. Krishnamurthy, former Chief Election Commissioner, they all participated. For both NGPL as well as Sansad Ratna Award, Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy, former Chief Election Commissioner, is the patron, and it is apolitical. We have members, or we have the patrons, we have the everybody from all politics. We don't talk individual politics. We talk about the national level, how we can improve the quality of politics in India. So that's why we have been inviting a lot of eminent parliamentarians who have been successful. And the third initiative is Digital Journalists Association, where it is a presence also is one of the positive journalists association, and Digital Security Association of India also is there, where we are trying to have a digital security awareness. All these 5 initiatives together in a single basket, we are trying to create an awareness on various aspects. Coming to this particular event of grooming leaders with the right attitude. I have been associated with all these youngsters for the past 40 years, even as a bank executive and all. So I have been seeing in the past 10 years, there has been a lot of changes in the attitude of the youngsters. Even what has happened, the balancing of their success becomes difficult. There is, even if the people are not available for hand-holding. Out of 100 people, 5 people get into success mode within a very short time. When they get into success, that goes into their head. At that time, they needed a guidance. They needed proper hand-holding. Probably for so many reasons, many of them get FR. They become, they get into their hand and they assume as if they have achieved everything. With the smallest achievement, they seem that they have done so many things. That results in many things. Probably my fear is with that attitude, wrong attitude, they may end up in a failure of their career. Probably they start with a big bang, but they may lose friends and well-wishers. So with that in keeping in mind, we wanted to create an awareness that attitude is most important. Even as a person who used to take sessions on communication and personality development, we used to say attitude is the primary. If A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, all for alphabets. If you put attitude A plus T plus all these things, if you put it, it comes to 100. That means attitude is everything. Without an attitude, without a proper attitude, nobody can achieve. That's the main thing that everybody should understand. But probably somewhere something is lacking in us. That's why we thought that the people, young, vibrant leaders like Priyanka and Ramon Naidu Garu, so that they have achieved in the young age, and they might have come across a lot of challenges, that success and other things, how they managed it, so that they are maintaining the success, they are maintaining the vibration, they are maintaining the lead, they are maintaining even the positivity, and they are maintaining the good relation with their stakeholders, how they are, because it is going to be a great lesson for the youngsters, not only for youngsters, many of the seniors also. So with that, I will be happy and grateful to both the honorable members of parliament to share their experience, how to overcome this and what went wrong. Why the youngsters suddenly, because this happens in 3 domains. One is journalism, and second is IT, and third is politics. At least in the journalism, what has happened, they suddenly get into the byline and they meet at the highest level of people, powerful people. They write byline. Even the people are afraid of the journalists. So suddenly the people goes into their mind, and later suddenly when they get into the fall, they become sick. That is, journalism includes media and entertainment also. IT, because of the big salary compared to the peers, that goes into their mind. They become very active. Then they later, when they are not able to face any difficulties or challenges. In the same way, politics also, the youngsters, when they get into the politics, and with the people who have got an exposure at a young age with the powerful people, but they need not be holding any big position, even a small position. When they hold it, they become, suddenly it goes to them. And even with some people, when I ask them, send them a mail, can I talk? When I call them, they say, please, sir, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you. They may not call. I will send them a message, tell them, can they call? They will not even respond for 10 days, 15 days also. Still, I have people with whom I'm waiting to call. This type of an attitude, but they are not holding a big position. They are only, whereas in the case of some of the people like Hansraj Ahir, the senior MPs, or Bhartrihari Madhav, or Arjun Ram Meghwal, when I call them, on seeing the missed call, even whenever they are free, they call. Or sometime when I send them an SMS, what is the right time to call? They call. That is, as the maturity goes, they immediately realize what is to be done. So this type of thing, I would like to hear, I would like to learn. It is more for a learning, so that I can also propagate your experiences. With that, I also welcome, and I am more here to listen to both the eminent parliamentarians, Priyanka and Ram Mohan. So please share your experiences, and we will also be, and the people will be benefited on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. Today, the speakers with us are so familiar and have strong proven record of leadership during crisis and have stood firmly for what they felt was right. Mrs. Priyanka Chaturvedi, Member of Parliament, is a vibrant leader who exponentially stands for women empowerment, faith in youth, progressive politics, child education, women in politics, and the list goes on. For we all know her as a national spokesperson of a national party for 10 years and today a deputy leader for Shiv Sena. We surely need to give her an applause for the stereotypes that she is breaking as a single person with merely her statement of expression. To begin with, a women politician can look lively, a women politician can smile, can have self-respect, can have self-esteem, need not have a political lineage, a loving mother, a great friend, yet a strong, uncompromised leader. So a very warm welcome to our girl next door leader and a true inspiration to all of us, especially the youth and women. We are really proud of you, ma'am. Over to Mrs. Priyaka Chaturvedi, Member of Parliament.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction of me. And I totally believe in being the girl next door politician that you just spoke about. Thank you so much, Srinivasanji, for inviting me here and sharing your inputs, because those inputs are very relevant in the times we live in, and how it is important for us to be deeply grounded, even if we are in positions of power or in positions of government or even in opposition. Susan, thank you so much for your warm welcome, and thank you so much to everybody who might be logging in to listen to what we have to say. And to my co-panelist, Ram, Mohanji, it is again a pleasure for me to be sharing the same dais as you, because we both share a lot of vibrant ideas and about how youth should be involved in politics in times to come. In terms of having the right attitude, you know, being a woman, someone who came from a non-political background, the most important thing that when I got into this entire idea of being a part of a political party was to be committed to the idea of the long-term involvement that I would need, the uncertainty that comes along with politics, because fortunately, unfortunately, I'd say more unfortunately, that there is no roadmap per se for any politician who steps into the so-called framework of a political life to know where they would be 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. If someone told me 10 years down the line that my path would change so drastically, I wouldn't have thought of it or wouldn't have believed it. But it does happen when you are in the course of this journey. A lot of things happen, and you make these tough choices, and these choices also reflect upon who you are and what are the values that you stand for. And I've always believed that value-based politics will always um, help people understand and navigate their entire growth trajectory. So when you say, when people ask me what my right attitude is, I would say a sense of honesty, a sense of transparency, a sense of commitment, and also being extremely grounded to what people expect of me and expect of people who are in leadership positions. Uh, Communication has become a very important tool for any political person to be able to engage with their audience. Who is their audience? Their audience are the people who will vote for them. Their audience is people who they will work for. Their audience is those who believe in similar ideas. And they, of course, their audience is people who believe in an idea of a strong nation, a nation which is progressive, a nation which is inclusive, a nation which is liberal in its values, but also seeped in its culture and the values that over the years, the nation that we might be, I would say, a new country, but an old nation, which has over the years formed us for who we are and what we stand for. So those are the things which I believe are very important. Any new person who comes into politics, I'd only tell them a couple of things, and that would always be that while the future is uncertain, the roadmap is not very clear. But as long as you have a commitment, as long as you have the drive, and your drive meaning that you want to be able to serve your constituency, your people, and make this a better place for people to live in, would always end up making you a lot more connected to people. Standing up for your values. When I say values system, as a woman, many people expect that you can compromise on your self-respect, you can compromise on your struggles, you can compromise on many other things as long as you are getting ahead. But I do not think that should be the attitude of any youngster who's looking at coming into politics, because this is a long haul. 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, when you have reached any position of power, maybe you would look back and say that this is the life I wanted to be, this is how I wanted to grow without any compromise on who I am and what I stand for. The other part of my journey would also be about how it is extremely important for people to encourage new talent to come into the framework, into the system. Yes, I have grown up with the belief. My parents were extremely surprised when I said that politics is what I want to go into. My in-laws, because I was married, I had two children who were, my daughter was just 2 when I chose to be in politics. They were very surprised that I was choosing a path which is so, uncertain nature, which comes with a lots of negativity surrounding it. People assume you to be corrupt. People assume you to be nincompoops. People assume you to be someone who are, who failed in other platforms of work and choosing this career because it's so-called easy to get into it. There's a certain stigma attached to a political system. Of course, I grew up listening to all that, but I also realized that if we do not get into this system, we keep talking about a nation which is driven, a nation which is ambitious, a nation which is an achiever. But if achievers don't join the system to lead the growth trajectory for this country, and if people continue to live with this stigma that politics is all about corrupt people or politics is a dirty word, then you're not going to change the system. You can only change it once you're within the system. And I chose this particular path, and of course, there were many challenges. Of course, there was no godfather, which is another, myth. I would not say myth really, because there are instances of people who had godfather and succeeded. But if you have the determination and you have the courage to carry forward, and if you bring in certain values and you know what you bring to the table and you're not willing to compromise on it, then you can make that space. So till you do not get into the system, you are not going to be changing this entire mindset that people continue to have inside, or belief that they have that politics is a dirty word and politicians are dirty people. So this is where it started for me. It was a tough journey convincing everybody in your family that you're committed to the cause, and your commitment is not for anything else but to change how people perceive politics and how you can contribute to the system. In terms of a value that you bring, always remember that every single individual that comes into politics can become a success or can be noticed because of the values they bring or the talent they bring. Everybody, whether it is you are working in corporate houses, whether you're working in small businesses, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a politician, you bring a certain talent to the table. Keep honing that talent, keep working on it. Always remember, whenever you want to look at leadership roles, you have to be a good reader and you have to be an extensive learner. Learning never stops. You cannot go with this belief that I have learned enough, this is what I am, and what I give to the people is the best I can give. That is not how systems work, and this is not how leaders should work. They should be open to ideas, they should be open to learning, and some ideas could even come from the people. It could come from colleagues around you, it could come from some really young students, it could come from anywhere. But as long as you're open to learning, I would say this journey of growing never stops and leadership never stops. A reader, reading is exceedingly important. So when I say, oh, I bring certain ideas into my politics, but my ideas are not shaped by only the ideas I believe in. I could also be reading on, books which also shape ideas of my opposition. What is the idea that they are bringing to the table? Maybe out of those ideas, there could be some better idea that two of us can bring to the table, and only because it helps my nation grow. So whenever I am discussing, whenever you've seen me on television, you would see that I come from a point where I have also tried to understand what the opposition's point of view on certain issues are. So that is exceedingly important, that you read, you learn, and you're transparent in your conduct. These are things that I strongly feel that people should be committed to. In terms of how you project yourself, how you continue to stay committed despite a lot of challenges that come your way, I think it is simply because of your self-belief, your belief in yourself, and your faith in that whatever you are bringing is for a better future, not just for yourself, not just for people around you, not just your families, but also the society you live in and the society that you want to see in the future. What is the vision that you have for them? How can you convince them that this is what we believe that will take them towards a better space? When I speak of women in politics, my only, my struggle has always been, and I'll be very honest about it, that there are many women who are working in political spaces. Not many, I would say, but in terms of the numbers that we have currently, we haven't yet become, I would say, a critical voice in terms of the number of people speaking in the same voice, the weight that we carry, because everyone is struggling in their spaces. None of them are willing to come and form a caucus kind of a system where we speak in unison to be able to make more spaces for women. We saw that kind of coming together of women during the reservation debate in the parliament, which saw it cleared in one of the houses. It did not get cleared in the other house, and 33% reservation still continues to be a dream. After which, we haven't seen women stand up for other women, speak up for other women. Until we don't start pulling up other women, we are going to be pushing them out of the system. So we have to pull women into the system. We have to use our positions to be able to ensure to women that it is, and convince the women that while it is a struggle, and it is an equal struggle for men as well as women, slightly more for women, but there can be, something that you will feel in sense of achievement. So that is something very important. For a woman, it is a lot more tougher to be in the political system, simply because, like I said, because of the stigma attached to the idea of a woman being in politics. Because she's in public space, it becomes easier for people to tarnish her image, to be sexist, because it's such a male-dominated area. Misogyny comes very easy. Patriarchal behavior is a given. You are not supposed to question it. You're not supposed to challenge it. You're supposed to live with it. Women who break those barriers are the women who will perhaps create a better future for women in times to come. I would also say the second challenge that women face, like I said, the uncertainty of where it's taking them and how long it will take them, and for them to be able to convince their entire family setup that this is how committed you are and this is how much time it takes. Sometimes it's always said that women have to compromise on family life vis-a-vis their political life. And many examples are given. Many successful leaders have been single or have not had families. They continue to be that. But we need to break that idea too. Women can have families. They can be good mothers. They can be caring mothers, and those and nurturing their children, as well as nurturing the nation as they see it in their roles that they are in. Last is, of course, the financial part of it. Any woman who comes into the work system or the workforce is expected to contribute in her family in terms of financial contribution. The work she brings in is measured in terms of the financial contribution that she contributes to the family. That is not the system in politics, and that is when people do not realize whether she is struggling, whether she is achieving, whether she is successful. It becomes difficult to explain to the society how the system works. Lastly, I would say not many mentor for women, and also for women to know that I hope I'm not taking too much time, because I can just go on and on.
Well, ma'am, yeah, you can just wind it up so that we have like loads of questions to ask you.
Oh,
no, that's
sorry.
okay. Like we are also like sunk with your conversation.
Just one last thing.
Yes,
I would like to wrap it up with is that women also need to know very specifically. I think it works for men too, where they wish to contribute in the political system, whether it's through organization or whether it's through electoral politics. They need to be very clear in their head and very clear-headed about it. So clarity of thoughts is also exceedingly important. So I'll wrap it up here and I'll wait for your question. Sorry.
No, in fact, we also were like so, into your conversation, we skipped to see the time. And so thank you so much, ma'am. And like once you're there with us on board, like we've got loads of questions, which I don't want to disappoint our participants by not asking those. So next, it's my privilege to introduce Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu Garu, Member of Parliament, who's the second youngest MP in the 16th Lok Sabha by missing to be the youngest by just 3 months. This youngster incidentally turned politician post the sudden demise of his father, Sri Yera Naidu Garu. But this young leader is keeping to the expectation and good works with zeal and utmost commitment. He's awarded Sansad Ratna Awards for 2020 for his outstanding performance as a parliamentarian. Who can forget the day he sizzled the entire parliament with his fuming and seamless speech, placing his demands strongly, yet with dignity and decorum. Not just that, this inspiring leader is the National General Secretary for Telugu Desam Party and the leader of the party in the Lok Sabha. This person who once was an introvert and today stands excelling in public speaking in a span of about 3 to 4 years is truly something that should be learned. With no further delay, over to Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu Garu, Member of Parliament.
Thank you, Priyadarshini. And once again, I would like to thank you for inviting me on this prestigious webinar. I think it's a wonderful discussion, a discussion that needs to be happening all across the country, across all platforms also. And special thanks to Srinivasan Garu also for all this support and the organizing this event also. And it's always an honor to share the stage with Priyaka ji. And in fact, while she was speaking, I felt like I should have been the audience itself. She was making some very relevant points. And I also come under the category of being a young politician. So trying to be an avid listener, it's been a wonderful experience listening to her share her experiences also. And good evening, everyone, all the honorable people, dignitaries, and my friends who are present here. It's like I say, it's a very important topic because a lot of people are of the opinion that you should come into politics. But the more relevant question that we should ask is, are the youth also having the right attitude, the right values to come into politics? I think that is the question that we need, because everyone kind of seems to be stressing that you definitely shouldn't come into politics, but we should take it a little further and instill in them the right values also, because this is the time when those discussions also need to happen. And some of the points like Priyaka has mentioned, very relevant points. And the most important question that any young politician who comes into politics should ask first is, what am I? It's not what am I going to be? It should probably start with, what am I going to do? That is where the purpose, that's where the passion, everything comes out. It's not that what I'm going to gain by coming into politics, but what can I give back to the society? How can I change? What do I believe in? What are my values that I want to give back to the society? So that's where the whole equation should start for the young politician, and he should stick strong to it. And some of the other values that even I try to advocate with myself, and I would like to share with the members here, are that genuineness, clarity of thought, like what you believe in, you should actually be able to display it also. It's not something that you want to keep it in secret or just follow by yourself. You should be able to advocate to other people also. You should make them strongly see that in yourself, that this is what I believe in. That's how the leadership also comes through, that whatever values that you believe in, you should be able to show it in action, because a lot of people just keep it to the top, but bringing out into action is also very, very important thing for the young people. And the other thing is, when you come into politics, communication is very important. So always be connected to the people. There is no other shortcut to that. You have to directly be connected to the people. You have to get the ground reality approach. And that's where I agree with the point Srinivasan ji has also mentioned, that some of the people, when they achieve big in very young stages, they kind of go to other stages and kind of cut the links from the ground. But that has to be the basis, the root for everyone, no matter at what stage they are. They should be connected to the ground. They should always have that approach where they are able to learn, they're able to realize the problems at the ground level. Otherwise, no leadership can be effective. You just can't say that I'm at so-and-so position, so I know everything. You have to be connected, and that that real-time approach to the ground level problems or the people should always be there. So connectivity is a very important thing that I would stress on. And like I said, we are building on the character and being true to yourself. These are very, very important. Being a youngster, I've been also facing some problems, and some of the most important thing would be people would expect me to react very, very quickly. Being a young person, they think that I'm a very I should be a little aggressive, or I should have an immediate opinion on something, and I should be very, very reactive. If something happens somewhere, then they expect me to immediately react. But whereas I've been away from those kind of things. What I try to do is I try to get different points of view. I think that also comes from what Priyanka ji has mentioned is reading. When you read, you get to know difference of opinions, you get to know different points of views, and that is very, very important, because as a leader you're going to decide on some things which are going to matter to many people. So for you, it is necessary before deciding to know a lot of viewpoints from different, and you have to be able to judge which way that you should make the decision, and that comes from reading, that comes from being connected. So all these are very, very interconnected. If you are going on the right path, then all these values try to come your way also. So one of the important things I would suggest young people is not to be very overreactive, or just go into the sense that I'm young person, so I have to be very, very visible, I have to be very flamboyant, I have to be very reactive on all the issues. I think it takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of confidence also to take a step back, try to get the different viewpoints, and try to stand on that very strongly, whatever you believe on. I think that is where a lot of young people kind of misjudge, and just to show that they have that energy to do something, they kind of just flare through that process. But it is important, because I faced that on a lot of instances. When I came to the parliament at 26 years, people were expecting me to be just charging over everywhere and just bombarding with the problems and everything. But I kind of understood that that's not the process, and I tried to analyze what is more important and on what platform you should raise what questions and all that. So that took some time, but people have realized that that is what maturity is about. Being young is not just about just flaring up. It's also about having that maturity and the confidence also. So I think that also helped me through my process of growing as a leader also. And other than that, I think it's like this crisis. Whenever a young person hits up with a crisis, there is always that dilemma on what decision to make, and it might sometimes be very, very deeply associated with him, where he has to decide on something where he's very, very connected with, should I go with this or not. So at that is a point of time, rather than taking it as a challenge, take it as an opportunity. In those times of crisis, that this is an opportunity for me to prove myself, to prove what I stand for. And if you have that positive thought process in times of crisis, I think that will make you lead through in a very positive way, rather than trying to restrict yourself to making a decision at that point of time. So whenever you're hit with a crisis at some point of time where you feel like, should I be going this way, should I be going that way, that is when you have to deeply connect with yourself and try to understand what do you stand for and what do you want to do. And that is how you decide, rather than just trying to easily navigating yourself through that situation at that point of time. Go back to yourself, analyze, so that your core strength is always your values. So values is what you should be always building on. And moreover, one of the most important things that I see is that I've kind of written some of the points. Is that today in politics, like I said, all these, most of the young people are coming up with good qualities, with good attitude also. But sometimes the political parties might be failing. They don't appreciate these qualities as much. And that is also a very challenging thing. So I'm just trying to, I'm trying to bring in other spheres also here. It's just not that how we groom our young leaders, And there is a necessity for us to groom the system also. There is a necessity for the political parties also to arrange themselves in such a way that these kind of qualities, when they're shown in young people, they kind of are encouraged, they are given opportunities to grow within the system. And that is something even the political parties should understand. And I appreciate my party for realizing that, being a young person also, they've given me a job to do in the parliament. They've made me a floor leader. So that appreciates, that kind of makes other young people also kind of look into it, kind of show that there is a system which encourages if you're very performing. So there is a responsibility on the system, the society, the political parties, that whenever there are these young people with the right approach, they're not kind of obstructed, but they're given the opportunity to move through. And that is a very important point that the society should understand today, that the young people should be given the right opportunity also. And I find it my responsibility also, being a young politician. I want to make it in such a way that I want to show that youth can do good in politics. If they are willing to walk the right path, they are being provided with opportunities. So I kind of take it as a responsibility in myself to encourage youth wherever it is possible. Let it be in my constituency. I try to bring in more young leaders to be contesting as sarpanchas, or the block level, or anywhere that I can, or just to be a leader in whatever issue there. I try, whenever there is an issue that is flaring up in my constituency, I kind of call the youth also to listen to their point of view, so that they understand that their opinion is also cared for. So the society should make it a point that whenever these kind of situations approach, where they want to know something from the public, they have to make sure that the youth are also, the opinion from the youth is also being voiced out. So it's a both. The value should be encouraged by the society also, and also the youth who are wanting to make it big in politics. I think the most important thing for them is to understand that politics is a long-term journey. It's not just it's not a 100-meter race that you just run, you win, and that's it. You're at a certain position and you get everything done. Even if you are probably the prime minister, you'd still face challenges. It's a constant journey that you're trying to do good to the people. So you have to understand that, because you might face a failure right in the very beginning. You might say that, oh, I didn't win. What am I going to do now? But it's a long-term journey. Use that as a step. Use that to understand what went wrong. Use that to understand how to grow yourself more. So always plan in the long term. So that's going to help you retune yourself if there are any problems that you feel on the path. So always make sure that your core values are intact. You're planning it for the long term, and you're being very grounded. You talk to the people often. You take their opinions. You respect them. I think one of the most important things I appreciate that in Priyaka ji also is that you should respect difference of opinion. Right now, politics is all about saying what you're right about. It's not that. You have to respect what the other person is also saying. Like it's so scary when you see these TV debates also. The only point that they stress on is how do you differ from each other. It's not about encouraging how you respect the other person's opinion. That is where this whole political system, if you're looking at next generation, it should start with the point that you respect the other person's point of view. I think that is a very core value. I would say the young people today should imbibe in themselves, should encourage in other people also, is that if you say something different from what I'm saying, I respect that. But this is what I have to say. And that is the kind of conversation you need to have. Let it be at the panchayat level or at the parliament level. It should be a very, very mutual respect for any party that you come from, any region that you come from. That is how you can actually, I think, have a very positive way in moving this Indian politics also. Like everyone kind of agrees that there is a negative stigma that is being attached to politics. So the whole world, the whole discussion about what the right attitude for the young leaders should be, I think this right attitude should be used to redefine the word politics itself. It's not about finding the words on what the young people should have as qualities. It is about redefining politics as a positive approach and what are the qualities that are required for that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think we've now started in the way which we actually wanted to take it to an optimistic way of looking at politics. So now, without further delay, I just want to jump into questions and there is just a small request to both of our speakers. If you could just quickly give us as much as points you can, so that we can take as many questions as possible in the limited time, because we're like really bombarded with too many questions here. So to begin with, so the first question is to Priyanka ma'am. Is being a woman leader in politics same as being a woman leader in any other field? She having
Oops, sorry, I've unmuted myself.
Yeah.
Women in various capacities in the country also face a challenge of growth, challenge of acknowledgement that what they bring to the table is way above what others can bring to the table. And many women in corporate houses get stuck at a mid-level position and are not looked at senior level positions. However, in politics, it's a lot more different. Because the entire setup is very male dominated. There's this uncertainty, like I mentioned earlier too. There's this uncertainty as to where it will take you, despite commitment to work, etc., etc. Third, financial backing, whether your family is committed to financially see through your entire political journey and how long that journey will take, and whether you can politically strong enough, financially strong enough to continue your trajectory towards wherever you see yourself. So for women, of course, and there are a lot of entry barriers for women in politics. The belief that most political parties believe that women are not vote winners. They cannot convince their constituencies into winning, which is another policy that they have. For them to be able to give them positions of power, most of the political parties that you will see even now they have a very similar structure where male politicians end up controlling most of the political decision making of any political party. So yes, for women who are in political spaces, it is a lot more tougher, also because they are in public limelight. It is easier for people to slander them. It's easier for them to be judged. It's easier for them to be judged on the basis of what they bring to the table without knowing who they are, and judge their journey.
If you could just tell us, how do you tackle this situation, ma'am? So I think that's a more take back to us. Like, how do you tackle this?
So all I'd like to say here is I used to be extremely sensitive to all the kind of negativity that used to come my way. It was extremely very emotional. I used to get very emotional at times. It used to also affect my mental health a lot when I used to see the kind of nonsense written about me. But over time, I gradually realized that I just need to start ignoring such things, because I cannot be losing focus from what my journey is and what my intended target or intended place of reaching is. And the minute I get sidelined into whatever is being provoking me, or people are trying to provoke me, I'm losing my focus. So I started to ignore those people. I started to switch off from negativity and concentrate and focus only on what my agenda was and what I was bringing to the table and how I could benefit the political party I am a part of, and how I can ensure that they are heard and I am heard. So that is what I did.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And we have a question for Ram Mohan sir. Gratitude, acceptance, and criticism looks going really far from youngsters. How to fix this?
Like I've said, I don't think these qualities are far from the youth today. There are some who are very, very genuine, who are committed to these kind of qualities, but they are sometimes in a situation where the society itself does not respect them for being showcasing those kind of attitudes. So it is definitely, if you look from the other side, the society, especially probably in this case of politics, I think it's the political parties which should take the step forward and encourage these kind of youngsters, where these values are this thing. And the other side of the question, I would say, uh, we have lost the procedure of having the leadership being known at college. If you look at some of the important big leaders that we have today, they've all grown from a stage where they've started with the political scenario at a very young stage, from the college level itself. We don't see that much happening today. So if you if you start imbibing these political qualities, the attitude that we are talking about at the college level itself, and if you start grooming them from that level, I think they'll find it much more easier to adapt when they come into the real world political scenario, rather than just making them go through some different kind of academic process and then just coming out as young people.
Well, the question is not that they have to go through an academic process, but it is widely being noticed these days that it is getting easier to connect to higher or more matured politicians than these youngsters, which is actually in contrary to what the expectation is. So I really appreciate both of you, because I have coordinated with both of you. It hasn't been that tough, but yes, it is still a challenge for for young leaders to come to that ground level. So how do we fix this is what I'm asking you.
Definitely, it is a challenge, but probably one way is, like I said, the youngsters itself should. Can you actually repeat the question?
Yeah, see, the question is that the youngsters are losing on acceptability, criticism, and gratitude. So what actually happens is, if at all we are not nailing the point right away, probably it will lead us to a different arena which we may not want to land up in. So how do we fix it at this point in time, that we show gratitude, we show acceptance, and we are open to criticism? Which is the problem, which is the point you told even in the debates, that, that's the problem. Like, we are not open to criticism and we are not open to debates.
No, that is right. That is something. If the youngsters, I'm still finding it hard to, I mean, which way the question is going.
Okay, so let me quickly ask you another question. What is it that today's youngsters are missing on? If there are few attributes that you think the youngsters are missing, what will be those attributes?
Exactly. So if you come to this, I don't think it's the attributes that they're missing on, but they have certain challenges to come into politics in the first stage. Some of them which overlap with the challenges that the women also face, let it be the financial aspect, let it be the background that they come from. So when these things are not associated with you as a young person, you find it very, very difficult to reach to the public, like you have said. But we can't, like you said, some of the problems that you already mentioned, whereas going to the ground, showing that humility and everything, we can't generalize also. There are some examples where that might not be the case. But wherever the case is there, I think it just needs to take that extra hard work. Like I said, it's a long-term this thing. You might face some challenges today, but there are people who are understanding. You have to find the right set of people within that group so that you can grow with them. It's not a challenge that you alone have to face. So you have to find the right set of people, communicate through them, grow as a group, and then you kind of spread in the right manner, rather than trying to face the challenge yourself and just inflicting everything on yourself, saying that, oh, these are the challenges that I face, probably something is not going on right. Over there, I would say it's better to go on finding the right set of people around you also, so that you can walk through as a group. I would advise that to the young people.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And we will also want to hear from you, because I think you joined politics in 2012 and you really, climbed the ladder really very far. And I'm sure you would have a lot of learning in that process. So we will come back to that question after we raise a question for Priyaka ma'am. Then we'll come back with you probably to get that answer from you. So a question to Priyaka ma'am is, from national politics to state politics, how are you redesigning or reorienting yourself now?
Just to add to the point that the question that you had asked about the youth of this country, I think the one thing they should realize, and I have also learned the hard way myself, that impatience is good. Impatience to change things is exceedingly good. And the intent of wanting to be impatient about bringing about that change and you becoming that tool of change is exceedingly a great idea. However, it should not be accompanied with arrogance and a sense of entitlement. Just because I'm young and I have some great ideas, that means those ideas are going to work very well for this country. It doesn't work like that. You have to be, very thorough in your approach as to the ideas also you're bringing to the table. And sometimes impatience can ruin whatever you're doing, simply because some ideas take a long time in fructification. So you have to understand that this journey is sometimes impatient, of course, and a right balance of patience and impatience along with it. That is what every youngster needs to realize, that just because you're young, just because you understand that the generation, the lingo that you're talking connects with 65% of the nation's youth, does not necessarily mean that whatever ideas you're bringing to the table are the best ideas. Now, in terms of the question that you asked to me about national vis-a-vis state politics, I think the only way forward for any politician is to be connected at the grassroots and understanding what their immediate society, immediate surrounding, and immediate neighborhood needs. And every single state in India has a different set of challenges, a different set of expectation from its leaders. While national leadership was more about debating in a more generic format that this is what the nation needs, but not understanding that a person from a state of Maharashtra or a state of Andhra Pradesh may not necessarily need what you are espousing as the need for the nation. Of course, there are some common values about economic growth story, about your progressive values, about your relations with your other nations, etc. Those are common set of values, about your defense system, etc. Those are national security. Those are common. But in terms of state-wise, every single state has a different growth trajectory, different way of approaching how they want to achieve these goals. And for me, honestly, the change has done me a whole lot of good, because it also made me realize that when you come to the table, you have to come with understanding issues that exist on ground. You cannot be speaking from a point of view with what the nation you think wants. What it should be is, this is what the nation wants from you, and this is what you should be voicing, and your state should be wanting. So I have been able to understand my state better. I have been able to voice their hopes and aspirations better, and also the struggles that they face in terms of what the central state relationship is, and how we can strengthen the center state structure, the federal structure that we speak of. And moving forward, this nation should have a robust structure where states are respected for whatever that they stand for, whatever values they have, whatever aspirations they have, vis-a-vis what is being asked to them by the center to behave in some particular format or in some particular manner. A different framework for every single state, and expectations as per the basis of the people of the state, is exceedingly important. And that is when I think strong leadership in the state is exceedingly important, and in times to come will also show the path for a more progressive nation.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. So so next, this question is for Ram Mohan sir. So let me just repeat. In a span of about 8 years of active politics, you have reached the heights of leading an established party in Lok Sabha. Which attributes of yours took you there?
I think overall is just trying to be connected to the people itself, because that kind of showed in whatever challenges I have faced, whatever opportunities that I've been given, the kind of way I've presented myself, or the kind of issues that I've raised have always, I've made sure that I've picked up the right issues which are very, very relevant to the ground level, and which are to be voiced out through me. So I think that connectivity, which I've mentioned all throughout, being a very lively, connected person to the ground, I think that has been one of the major factors for me to step up the ladder. Because never have I thought that I've reached the point where I can do things without actually learning anything else. So just being that constant learner and trying to be connected to the people, I think that is very, very important. And anyone at any point of time, I would suggest that they should keep doing that. Like I said,
if I can just add one more question. How do you keep good friends with your other parties also? Because they're not much controversies, or not much negative impact, negative feedbacks which we hear from you. How do you keep how do you keep them in good books?
Answer it by connecting to the first point itself, when you speak sense, when you speak about the problems, when you just keep it up to the people, when you keep it about the ground level, you don't really find time about opposing other people personally or getting into controversies. You know, that is not the game that you want to play. So when you kind of don't do that, people also respect you. You kind of earn that respect in a way that you haven't really tried also. They kind of see that you're really committed to the people's problems. And no matter how much pressure you put, or no matter what kind of situation you put him in, he will always speak about those ground level issues or something about his public. So that kind of earns respect from other parties, other people also, and it helps you to stay away from the controversy. So it kind of helps you both ways. So it's the first and foremost thing for me has been to be connected to the people and to just stick to their issues.
Okay, I have a common question for both of you. So probably if Priyanka ma'am takes it and then we come back to Ram Mohan sir. So when youngsters perform well, they are being cynical. There is a cynical approach from others, particularly the elders. So how do you actually tackle this situation?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one because I agree. It does happen at times when people say that there is cynicism involved, and there's a question about your commitment, there are doubts about your capability, etc. But I think you need to take it with a pinch of salt, simply because as long as you are extremely confident in the space you're coming from, nothing else can deter you or take you away from what you are contributing. I just like to say one thing, and the last bit would be in this particular question is that people might want to discourage you, people might want to pull you down, and you does not necessarily mean, or they're not making that space for you and you are fighting to make that space, does not mean that you wait for a right opportunity or right moment. You continue to persist, continue to consistently perform, and continue to ignore those who take you away from what your expectations of political systems are, and that is the only way you can move forward. And cynicism is part of the game. It could be your peer also being cynical about you, and your contribution shouldn't matter. As long as you have that faith in your own abilities and sense of confidence in what you're contributing, nothing can take you away from where you want to reach.
Perfect. So can we hear it from you?
Yeah. So when you face this kind of cynicism, it's very, very common. Even I have faced it. There'll be some jabs, there'll be some remarks that are made. So first thing you have to understand is that whenever someone is making those kind of remarks, you have to understand that you're doing something good or you're doing something right. So definitely don't retaliate, but take it in your stride. This is all part of the parcel. You have to use these as building blocks. You have to gain confidence from it. You have to make it in such a way that it should strengthen you rather than weaken you. I agree with what Priyanka ji has said, that you should stick to what you are, and you should keep continuing to do that. So if these things happen, and you should kind of prepare yourself in a way that you're not too much pulled down by all these, but you use them. If sometimes if there is genuine criticism in them, you kind of have to take that also. You take that criticism and try to see how you can better yourself. But if most of the times, like you said, if it's the cynicism that you're facing, then the best way is to ignore and keep doing what you're doing.
Right, thank you. And we have a question from our ex-parliamentary editor, PTI. So this question is again to both of you. So he says, attitude in view, okay, elected on particular ticket as an MP, suddenly decides to join another party to achieve his political ambition. Is that not betrayal of the confidence of the voters?
I think voters vote for the individual. I've always believed that voters vote for the person and the promises he or she, or commitment that he or she is bringing to the table. And unfortunately or fortunately, I would say in this country, it has become something which most political people may have to face, a question or dilemma that they have to face in life. But always understand your values and what you stand for are way above the political symbol that has taken you to that victory. But yes, there could be some cases which can be questioned. There could be some cases which are genuine. But at the end of the day, I think voters are the best people who decide who represents them and who that individual is who represents them. Of course, there are times like when we saw in 2014, where a wave, a certain wave existed, and it was the wave was for an individual above the political party. Mr. Modi was way above his political party and the political symbol that he was carrying. So I remember instances where I was traveling and I was campaigning, and people used to say, we are voting for Kamal because that will get us Mr. Modi at the center. So those are times when the symbol might matter, because it's also electing somebody, an individual that they look up to. But always remember that individual brings in more credibility to any organization, and that individual also gets the credibility of the voter, and that is why they end up making their party symbol win as well. So it is a mutual cooperation.
A question here is, what if the person is a first timer, or what if a person is not an established, contestant? So where he is not very much established in that in his field of politics, and he's just taken up the ticket. So that may not be right for people who are young into the politics or getting.
No, I didn't understand the question. Someone getting a ticket.
Yeah.
No, once again, allow me to ask you this question. Someone is getting a ticket, a first timer gets a ticket, contests on that ticket, ends up winning on that ticket, and ends up changing the party, right? That's the question. So this particular individual, however young he might be, even if he is a first timer, please understand that he is not just winning because of the party symbol, he's also winning for the personal credibility and personal commitment that he is giving to his particular constituency. Voters do not come out and vote only to press one particular symbol. When they're pressing that symbol, they are endorsing their faith in that particular individual, however young, however new he might be, however inexperienced he might be, but they have this sense of belief that this particular person will be able to live up to the expectations and commitments of the constituency, because he was closest to the issues or the problems that they face and the aspirations that they have from their particular leader. So those are a few things. Of course, it's an interchangeable thing. There could be times when the party makes them in, like a particular wave, and then they choosing to change the party. Instead of judging them, you might need to understand what made them do what they did.
Perfect, ma'am. To the point. Thank you. So can we hear it from you?
Yeah, well, I would say that it's both the individual and the party also. Sometimes if you see, the party itself has a common manifesto that they vote for, so it kind of depends. But see, when they kind of want to change the party, I would feel in a democratic process that we have, it's best to resign, go to the public, explain his stance, and then win again. I think as easy as that. If there can be differences, you can't just say that, okay, if he's stuck to if he's going with the party, he has to be there with the party. There can be differences between the individual ideology and the party ideology in some cases. So resigning or coming out of the party is not a sign of betrayal. But how you do it, you follow a certain democratic process. You go back to the people. So the question you asked is also, is it a betrayal to the people? So go back to the people, explain the situation. If he has the rightful confidence, he can win again on any other party symbol or independent symbol. So it's exactly not a betrayal if people vote him back. And there are instances when the people voted him a person back also if he is contested from a different party. So it's ultimately in the hands of the people itself. But I would say it has to be followed that probably he has to resign and then go back to the public.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, Priyanka ma'am has a question here. In this cutthroat competition in politics, without any political background, how could you draw lines with self-respect and political aspiration?
So it was very clear when I got into the political system, the idea was to be able to contribute towards the nation building process. And we fit to an idea which I personally believe in. And I think I did a good job of it. In terms of political aspirations, I would say political aspirations, very honestly, when I began, were almost nil. My only idea was to contribute. But when you are contributing and when you are doing tremendously well in that space, you expect some kind of acknowledgement, some kind of feeling that you are, I would say you are respected for what you're doing. And the value that you bring, or the talents that you bring to the table, is being noticed and appreciated. So if that is missing, I would say that also can be a big trigger point and a tipping point for me, it was always, this is my personal belief and my personal understanding of how it works, that if you cannot stand up for your own dignity, your own respect, and your own beliefs and ideas, then there is no point in you trying to project something, because it becomes politically expedient for you and politically smarter for you to achieve something while having compromised with your core values. So when I don't, when my self-respect, etc., been way above anything else, and more because there is a society I go back to, there are people I go back to, and what I stand for. If I start compromising on that particular thing, then I think I have lost all confidence of the people I speak about, I speak to, and the society I live in. And political, I would say, gain or political acknowledgement can only come when you come with a set of that commitment. You don't compromise on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And we have a question for Ram Mohan, sir. How are you striking a balance from parliamentary work in terms of committees, questions, interventions versus your constituency work?
I think you can put everything on one side and the constituency work on the other side, because the major challenge is how you balance the constituency work itself. Today, in where everything is so well connected with the internet, phones and everything, people expect you to be there like 24/7. Even if you're an MP, they expect you to get into the nitty-gritty of small things. So it's a very difficult challenge being an MP and being connected to the constituents itself. But I kind of try to do it with a big, good, efficient team that I have. I have an office in the constituency which is completely connected to the ground level. If I'm not available for some reason, they keep me updated. They keep the process going on. Most of the times, it is probably for some daily necessity, like probably electricity or water or a ration or a pension. So these kind of issues which can be solved without my interference and with the involvement of the local government authorities. So the majority of the constituency work, I think having a good efficient team for yourself is a very, very must. And on the other side, the committees and all, the parliament, there is a challenge there also. If you want to be really effective in the parliament, you need a good research team. And there are some organizations which are working to make the debates more worthwhile in the parliament also. So I kind of take their help also. If I want some research done, I kind of take help of some think tanks that are in and around Delhi. And the committees also likewise. It is time management is very, very difficult, but I think once you get the swing of things, like how much you want to dedicate to each and what is important, you get the priorities right, and then that makes it a little bit easier to manage.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, a question for you. So having no political backing, no family lineage of being in politics, were you ever threatened or felt really scared? And how do you actually take up those kind of situations?
Yes, so it is a bit difficult for me to speak, but it has happened in my life. And it did, I think that was also my tipping point in life about what I stood for and what I should be doing. And that kind of led me to believe that when we continue to talk about changes as young people, when we come into the political system with no political background, and honestly, for me, it's a badge of honor, someone coming from a non-political background with absolutely no godfather, for having achieved whatever I have. I would have been compromising big time if I would have allowed such kind of behavior to for people who were responsible for this kind of behavior to get away with it. So what values do I stand for, and what do I stand for as far as my own self-respect is concerned? So there was a point in time which of course scared me and also scarred me in a manner. Scared me in a sense because for the first time I felt that though I keep getting these threats online, I keep getting whatever harm, that they'll harm me, etc. Those didn't matter because we had a very efficient Mumbai police which was working, and whenever I felt it was going beyond the pale, there was support coming in from many people on social media. It came from even the Home Minister then, Shri Rajnath Singh ji, who ensured that was particularly handled. But when it comes from within the system, and that's when you start, getting scared about that if you make this a norm, this will continue. And if you do not change that and what you stand for, if you don't make it count, then it becomes a compromise, which I did not want to. So that scared me, that scarred me, because it also impacted my family members. It impacted my people who were close to me. Some town, which is my parents' native place, became out of bounds for them. They couldn't even step into that particular town because of the kind of hooliganism that was being promoted, because I was staying silent. And that is when I think I realized that at the cost of my politics, I cannot have my family suffer the injustices of it after having suffered and stayed silent about that particular injustice. So for me, it did become a tipping point, and it was scary, but as well as scarred me. But I kind of, you move on and you learn and you set a precedent, which I did, I think, despite all the criticism that came my way.
Well, you did it really well, but how do you help the other women on the same page to, come out of the situation?
Yes, so I was hoping at that particular point in time that it would bring conversation back to women who are in politics, who choose silence over standing up for such kind of behavior. Unfortunately, it became about a woman being more politically opportunistic, politically ambitious, and what's the harm if I'm politically ambitious? What is the harm if I am seeking some kind of position in the system, because I have put my work in it. It has done personal credibility into it. Everything's into it. But unfortunately, the conversation was not around that. And I'm hoping someday in this, while now that I get into the parliament, I would be able to create a voice, for critical mass voice for women who are elected representatives, or maybe they're coming to the Rajya Sabha or local leadership or MLAs, who can look beyond their political parties. It is not about a political party. It is about the thought process in the society that prevails. And the political parties are usually a reflection of that thought process that exists. So how do we change that? Only when we come together. I saw that support coming from some women who are in politics, like Shaina NC spoke about political party lines, and she continues to be a vociferous speaker for this. So we're hoping that, once I'm into this system, we can create a voice for women beyond their politics and what ideas they stand for. The biggest idea would be to be able to empower women, and when they come into the political system, they are treated with the same respect and dignity, and that is expected of anybody who is in a work environment. And there has to be a redressal system. Most political parties speak about, oh, we have the Vishaka committee and we have this and that. Please, all these Vishaka committees that work in political systems are, again, an issue, simply because most of the representatives are part of that same political system, who are feeding on each other and who are refusing to call out such behavior. So that, I think, is a joke, and that again needs to change. And I'm hoping that if I can speak about it, if I can do something about it, this would probably be my contribution in this in the political system, so that no woman who chooses to be in politics believes that. I don't know if you remember that there was a movie on politics that had come where a woman who was seeking a ticket had to compromise physically to be able to get a ticket. No such a narrative about a woman is set. She is there because she's capable and she deserves that position. And yes, she is ambitious and she is driven.
Wow. Yeah, true. So can we hear from you? So you have been an introvert, which we fail to agree now, because for what you are standing in front of us today. So how did this transformation happen in a span of about 3 years, if I'm not wrong? I'm like one introvert person to an exemplary spokesperson.
Well, I was an introvert in the sense I wasn't talking to people much or sharing my opinions much with anyone else. I was never in the line of politics. But once I was in this sphere, I took it as a challenge. I thought if I was given this opportunity to be something like a parliamentarian, I should make full use of it. And if I'm going to the people saying that I'm going to do this, then I have to stick with it. There shouldn't be any behind the curtains thing going on. So I took it as a challenge, and I had a good 1.5 year before I won as a parliamentarian. I was working as an opposition leader in Andhra Pradesh. I was going around nook and corner of my constituency, and I was learning things. Not many people know my learning phase. They would have known that I was stumbling here and there. I wouldn't know some Telugu. I wouldn't know some problems in my constituency. I wouldn't recognize some people. So all these challenges were covered in that 1.5 year phase, which was my struggling, my learning phase. So once I got through that, that provided a good learning foundation for me. So once I was in the parliament, I was able to pick up from there. So the experience that I needed to perform, let it be in communicating myself and all that, I think I gained it in a good phase where I struggled also. And other than that, I think even being an introvert, I had a very good opinion on things. I was reading. I had, like, if there was situation going on in the country or in the state, let it be of any sector. It can be business or it can be sports or anything. So I would discuss with myself. Being an introvert, I was voicing myself inside me and forming those opinions. So I had a good clarity of thought. That's what I felt. So only challenge for me was, once I came into politics, was communicating my clarity of thought effectively to the people, making myself understand to the person who I want to say something to. I think that process happened through 1-2 years. And I felt probably Telugu language would be a problem for me, because I was totally away from Andhra also. But slowly I learned things. I listened to other people, and public speaking in itself is a different art. You listen to the audience. You kind of, if you sense them, you know what they like, what they don't like, when they clap, when they don't, when they hesitate to listen, what kind of words do they like to listen, and all. So this is a learning process. Some might pick it up fast, some might pick it up late. But looking at the things back, I kind of picked it up fast, maybe.
And you have always been telling Chandrababu Naidu Garu as your mentor, who had actually groomed you in the right spirit when unfortunately your father was not next to you. So how much of learning did the party give you? Well, I'm not talking about the party per se, but the guidance which a political party can give to its worthy candidate.
Yes, definitely. I think party in itself is a major contributor for any leader to grow. The kind of values that you want to instill, especially being a young person, when I came into politics with no idea about the political scenario and everything. Big role was played by the party itself, the kind of leaders I was meeting, and especially Chandrababu Naidu. He knew my situation. He knew that I just lost my father, and he was bringing me into politics. A person who didn't know anything but was very educated. So he found that I was a very educated person, and he wanted to promote me. And since my leader, since my party also had this kind of idea, it kind of made me more comfortable in exploring this political space. Had it been very challenging for me, had I not received the support from my political party, it would have been a totally different equation. I would have been probably fighting with my people, with the other leaders in the party itself. But the political party was very supportive. All the other leaders were supportive. So that kind of gave me the confidence to go abroad. Like being a regional party, Delhi scenario is very, very different. So the party prepares for regional issues. Party prepares for the state level problems. Party prepares the manifesto. Like, a lot of the priorities on the state issues. But when it comes to the center, there is an additional homework that you need to do. And unless the party prepares you for it, unless the party completely backs you up with it, it is very difficult. But I'm very, very grateful that Chandrababu Naidu ji and Telugu Desam have stood by me and my family also in achieving what I've done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Priyanka, ma'am, I have another question. Like in UK, we have a practice in place where we train the young politicians to contest in elections. I'm like, unfortunately, we don't find it in the Indian scenario. So is there any back-end work which is being happening in that front? How do they actually trace the right person to be in the forefront?
So unfortunately, that's an area which has been untapped, and more so because of the uncertainties of the political system. While we have adopted the UK model of governance in terms of parliamentary structure, what we haven't done are some of the values that they bring in, right? So for example, they don't see disruptions in the parliament session when people are opposition is walking out, etc. Everyone discusses, debates. And I remember as a young leader, Commonwealth leader, I was selected amongst the 10 leaders that was chosen from India to go to the UK to understand the parliamentary model and how they work. And I thought it was such a mature system where you are able to, of course, have differences. And your difference of opinion cannot be as strong as disrupting the parliament and having sessions getting washed out. So it is very important that when you are entering the political system, you have this right value set. At this point in time, people don't even know most of the politicians don't even follow the election code of conduct's amount of money spent. That is also a very gray area. Most of the political parties don't want to come under the RTI, which is another zone that unfortunately we haven't addressed. And most importantly, the young leaders, when we groom them, the grooming should be all-rounded in nature, where you know exactly where you're heading, whether you're looking at a Lok Sabha, whether you're looking at an assembly, whether you're looking at a corporation level, where you wish to contribute and how you wish to grow from there, whether you wish to grow from the municipal corporation to the Lok Sabha, or you would want to go directly to the Lok Sabha. And if that is your trajectory, whatever your trajectory is, how are you being prepared for it? What are the issues? How are you going to be raising these issues? Where are you getting this kind of money to spend? So those transparency in the system needs to be brought about. And that can come when we have political parties on board. But more importantly, we need to have within political party systems a way to groom leadership. Thankfully, in Shiv Sena, we've started this, where we are grooming young talent. We are also grooming women leaders. We have some amazing number of women leaders who are at corporation level. And we are trying to raise their aspirations to assembly level. And from assembly level, perhaps they'll be representing the party in the Lok Sabha. So it has to come, the churning needs to come from within. You have some great talent within. How do you groom? How do you shape? And there are lots of opportunities. It's just that there is a reluctance to rely on young, untested set of people, which I think that's a mindset which needs to change, and the boundaries need to be broken.
So do you have a mentor desk at your party level, sir? Is there any desk which mentors and gives guidance to people in your political party who want to go ahead in the political system?
We don't have a mentor desk per se, but we do continue to have some camps where we speak to a younger talent, those who wish to join the party or who wish to either contribute to the organization or who wish to join through electoral politics. So we continue to guide and groom such talent through camps that we have, setups we have. We don't have a designated desk per se, but we have an understanding that the only way forward would be to able to give opportunities to many people who align with our thought process. So that is exceedingly important, and who aspire to be somewhere in the political narrative and changing how the systems work. So we are doing that, but I'm sure there can be a formal framework that is set, which we haven't done as yet, but I'm hoping that will also be given shape to sooner rather than later.
Great. So how about at your place, sir? How does it work at your end?
Even Telugu Desam, if you see, we also have a human resource cell, and it has been there right from the inception itself, right from Honorable NTR Garu has started the party. Since then, he had a very strict agenda on training our cadre, training our karyakartas, training our leaders in how to speak better, how to be more connected to the people, and how to be in line with the present political scenario, let it be the state or the central. So we had a wing which has started very early, and it has been by time and again it has been modified and took forward. And in the last 5 years also, we have done a very extensive work in this human resources cell. We have had camps going into remote areas. We had some exceptional motivational speakers or some leaders of certain professions come in, train their political, so that they get a holistic approach on how to go about leadership, or how to mingle with the public and all that. So I think there is still a lot of work to do in this case, but definitely I would wish to see this kind of human resource wings in each and every party, where they kind of groom the young talent also. I really like the way Priyanka ji has mentioned that people are still doubtful on giving the leadership to the young people. So even if they see that everything is right, there is still that something in the mind is obstructing them. Oh, is it going to be doing enough, or are we taking a big risk on giving it? I think that is some mental approach that needs to change. Maybe through time we can do that. 18 years youngster is voting, he is deciding who should be the prime minister of the country. Why not he can take up the leadership also? I think some of these changes will definitely come in the future with the right approach.
Great. So I would also want to ask another question to you, usually which is asked to a woman. I really think it should be answered by a man. So tell me, how important is it to have women in politics, and why is women's security always a priority?
well, it's women's security is a priority even without saying it. But the kind of instances that we see, it is just being discussed every day, every time it's being brought up. But we should be at a point where it is a priority in itself. It doesn't need to be flashed around saying that, oh, we need to talk about women's security. We should try to put it into action. We should try to bring it into action, and whatever stage things are needed to do it. And why you say, see, just like why you say, yeah, youth is important. Is important because there is a huge representation of youth is there in this country. You need to hear from them. You need to listen to their problems. They have their own individual set of problems, what the kind of this is. And just like that, women have been facing so many problems for so long. And the only way to probably better represent them is to come, listen it from a women itself on the highest stages. We need to have that representation, and it's not just a problem probably India is having. It's a discussion that the whole world is having at this stage. And I would really love to see India leading in this sense, where women, the representation, let it be in the assemblies or the parliament or in different forums, or the kind of importance that you give to them. We as a country should be the leading one in this. But like I said, a lot of work to do in this. But I definitely feel women leadership should be encouraged more. There are a lot of challenges which probably as a man you're asking me as a man to answer it, but I really can't tell you the problems that they might be facing. So only probably another woman who comes up through
Yeah,
those.
well, the reason why I asked it to you, sir, is because we want to really know the perspective of a male leader when we talk about women empowerment in politics. Because as a woman, every woman understands what we're going through. But as a man, how much do you actually understand what a woman goes through? That's the reason I wanted to ask you this question.
Understanding, I can understand the pain, and describing it and everything, it's very difficult for me, because the challenges that they go through are very hard, very sometimes they're very horrible to even listen to also from them. So things have to change, and it is sometimes very surprising that these things are happening even today. Like in a country or in the world, that you say that, oh, we have such development is going on, so and so things are happening, but you still look at women or the kind of problems they're facing, especially when you have a rural constituency. You get to hear these horrible stories, the child marriage, or the domestic abuse, or so many different, the list goes on. So these are the things that need to be addressed very strongly. And for that, the minimum thing that we can do is have more women leadership at the top, so that these things keep coming in every discussion, each and every discussion. They're not just left to some specific Women's Day when they are talked about on Women's Day. They have to be talked about. Let us say some bill is coming up. You have to have that approach where you listen from the women's side also. And I can't make justice to that. If you ask me to speak on women this thing every time, I probably can't do justice. I would say definitely have more women leaders on board, listen to their approach, and try to have a good setting of people. You want the young
Well,
people.
I asked you this because you really sensitize the women issues in your constituency with the amount of research which I did there. So you really take up women issues in the first instance, and you address it at the earliest. And more number of followers are like, fortunately, women in your constituency who actually respect you for the way you tackle all the women issues there. So that's the question for you, sir. And Priyanka, ma'am, I know women at work at any level is a challenge, because you really have to be a good mother, a good homemaker, as well as you have your ambitions in any profession you prefer. So please tell me, how do you manage motherhood, womanhood, and politics?
Just like women are multitaskers, the same way I also try to multitask, because ever since we are brought into this world, we are told of our responsibilities, reminded of our responsibilities, and so do men. So do our unfortunately, our society, which has decided as soon as a child is born into the house, that what they will be, how they will be, how they react, whether boys should be crying about anything that they feel strongly about, whether girls should be choosing careers over marriages, or should be coexisting with marriage and careers. So I come from a family which we are four sisters and a brother, and none of us were expected to have careers. My father came from a small town called Mathura, and he believed that as soon as our girls study, their education can be an asset to the families that they go into, and they become good homemakers. So I do realize that we do have a sense of responsibility, and I only realized my political ideas and ambitions after I had two kids. Unfortunately for my husband, he had to face the brunt of my belief in being able to change the political narrative of wherever I began from. But yes, when you take up some responsibility, I think that's one beauty about most women. They tend to be totally, putting their 100% dedication into it. Not to undermine any man here, but in terms of multitasking, they do realize that they have a certain set of roles decided by how you've grown up or systems you've grown up in, as well as be able to perform to the best of your capacities in the choice of your career. So I would say it's similar with me. I do live with a lot of sense of guilt at times when I can't attend my son's annual day, or I could not be there with him when he gave his interviews for his school admissions, high school admissions. There is this sense of guilt, but there is also a sense of understanding that I cannot be everywhere at every given point in time. But my intentions, my children understand, my career, my children understand, and I think making them partners in your journey is exceedingly important. So maintaining that balance becomes easier.
Thank you, ma'am. Now there's a question for both of you. Like, is both of you are really very educated and like well known about the facts and stuff. So, do you think education should be mandatory? An education barrier should be kept, like an education minimal nomenclature should be kept for politicians to take up roles in parliament or in assemblies?
Would Ram want to go first?
I would say making it mandatory might not be necessary. There might be some system failure also in him or her not being able to be properly educated. But we have seen a history where some of the most efficient, some of the best leaders that we had probably had no education or very low education. So the whole reason is we are talking about next gen political leaders and what attitude and what morals we have. So we kind of have a priority where for a leader the attitude and morals are very, very important rather than what education is he a PhD or MBA or. So we kind of have a core integrity of values. The whole idea is to have this, but definitely it helps being educated, but that is very case specific or situation specific rather than just trying to apply it to the whole country as a whole and saying that, oh, you need minimum qualification and all that. We haven't reached the point yet where we can say that the minimum education for anyone who contests has to be this, because the right to education is still going on. There are people 100% literacy has been achieved. You can't deprive someone from contesting just because he has not reached a certain level. Whereas the leadership doesn't necessarily grow with education; it grows with morals and values. It grows with the right attitude. That's what I feel.
Okay, ma'am, from you?
Yeah, I don't agree with putting any kind of barriers to people's ambitions to be able to do well in politics. A person who may not have a degree may have a successful vision on how he perceives India to be or she perceives India to be, and limiting. And this is the problem when we start putting barriers. This is how women, when the Constituent Assembly decided that women didn't need a quota system simply because we were giving them equal rights and equal opportunities, suddenly we saw women being out of the system. So the minute we start putting barriers that, oh, minimum qualification is needed or minimum understanding of XYZ is needed, understanding is fine. But education and reducing every single person's idea of contribution to what degree they hold is, I think, the wrong way of going about it. People can do exceedingly well without their degrees in place and have a plan of action for the nation. And there have been enough and more such cases. We've seen it in the Panchayati Raj system, where women leaders, sarpanches, have done tremendously well, whether it is in Haryana or Rajasthan, who did not perhaps have these degrees, beyond their 8th and 10th standard, but they have, paved the way for social changes, for societal changes, narrative changes for their society, and done exceedingly well. So the minute we start limiting it and start becoming gatekeepers of entries, that is when I think we fail as a society. Education, of course, is welcome, but education cannot be your degree cannot be the only barometer of the knowledge and wisdom that you bring in to the system or to this nation building.
Thank you, ma'am. And the last question to both of you. So please share with us the right attitudes which a leader should possess to be a good leader, not really in the political arena, but in any other sphere of his work. So what do you think are the right attitudes a leader should possess?
I think we kind of shared right in the beginning itself.
Yeah, so if you could just come up.
Put it back again, probably having the right purpose. And like I said, what you can give to the society, what you can do to the system, what changes you want to bring, and sticking to it right throughout. No matter what kind of challenges you face, you stick to your integrity, core beliefs that you have. And being patient is a good virtue to have in politics. Like I said, it's a long-term game, so it's a long-term journey. You kind of are a constant learner, so you have to be very patient and respecting other people's opinion, and that's one of the most important ones, that you respect each and every opinion that you hear. You understand from which side they are coming from. You understand the problem and what made them think of a certain issue in such way. And on top of that, being grounded. Definitely, Indian system respects that. The Indians respect that. That's a communicative method. You don't need education, or you don't need any kind of understanding to people to acknowledge that. If you are grounded, people genuinely make a connection with you, and that is what the young leaders need to do today. Probably, if I get the question which was, why the young leaders not being so why are they not being so connected, or what is the problem that they're facing? I think some of these values, if they can have it in them, they can probably be received well also. I don't see a problem that much with the youngsters. I think there are people who come with the right attitude also, but there are other major challenges that they face, that kind of depress them, or that kind of become a hurdle for them. Not everyone is given the opportunity at every stage. I for certainly feel I'm very, very lucky. Coming from a legacy, it was like I accept that I was being given with a golden spoon in hand, that I had the opportunity to contest, but that's not the case. Let me say that if I had these qualities, without the background that I have, if you had put me in that pool, and if you had come to the
There
parliament
is
at
a
26,
little of, so we're not able to hear you clearly. If you could just keep your mic a little closer.
I was just saying,
Yes.
I'm very lucky to have this a legacy behind me, where I had the opportunity to contest at a very young age. But if I say that I have the same amount of education, I have the same values, I have the same attitude, and you put me in the general pool, and you tell come to the parliament when 26, I would find that very, very challenging. And these are the challenges that need to be addressed in the system, where if you find that right kind of talent, the political parties take up the responsibility of kind of providing opportunity to them. I think they are slowly getting there, but patience is a good virtue. Have a good purpose. The purpose provides you the right path that you have to walk on, and being persistent also. You have to continuously back what you believe in, and these are some of the core values that I think the youth today should understand, to try to cultivate within them, and try to advocate to the people who they communicate to also.
Thank you, sir. I really have to tell you that there are a lot of emails which we got from Sri Kakulan saying that you have been one of the best MPs they had ever had. And we've also got few messages saying that you have really kept up to your father's standards, and I'm sure your father is really very proud of you. Yes, and Priyanka, ma'am, can we hear from you?
That was a lovely thing to say for anyone to hear, that living up to the values that people expect of them and the constituency expects of them. And I'm sure Ram Mohan ji is doing a brilliant job of it. There's one quote that I totally live by, which was by Madeleine Albright, which said, "It took me a long time to develop my voice, and now that I have it, I won't stay silent." So most important thing that a leader needs to have is the ability to raise voices and not to be silenced by people who believe that the issues that you're raising are not relevant, and let nobody silence you into that belief that you are not worth it. go with a sense of self-confidence and self-belief. Most important, I feel that any leader, when you're speaking about leadership, always keep empathy at the forefront of it all. If you are empathetic, whatever hardship that comes your way or whatever that comes to you, you will, and if you react in an empathetic manner, sympathetic manner, and in a manner of patience and understanding, believe me, no success will elude you. And this is what is exceedingly important. So have a voice, raise the right narrative, raise the right issues, and speak up for your people. Never be silenced.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking up to great politics from you. So before we go to the vote of thanks, I would just quickly want you to be introduced to our team who had been the strength of this entire event to happen. So can I have Sridhar, Sridhar, can you please unmute? So Sridhar is the convener for Next Gen Political Leaders. And
good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening, madam. Good evening, sir. Sridhar from Chennai. I'm the national convener for Next Gen Political Leader.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sridhar.
We have Siddharth Mani, who has been coordinating for this event. Siddharth, can you just unmute?
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. I'm Siddharth, practicing Madras High Court advocate from Chennai and young leader in BJP. Good to hear from you.
And
all the best, Siddharth.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
We have Nandini Alagar, who's helping us with the IT support. Nandini.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. I'm the State General Secretary for Tamil Nadu Mahila Congress. It was a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Amazing, Nandini. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we have Sriman Ramachandra Raja, who's helping us with the back end. Sriman.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Srimanji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Welcome, welcome.
And we also have Srinivasa Gopal, who's helping us do this live streaming. Hi, Srinivas. Can you just come on in?
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, Srinivas. Thank you.
Hi, Srinivas.
It's been a pleasure. Hello, madam. It's been a pleasure, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
so much.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
It is surely one of our memorable, sessions we've ever had. All credits to both of you. You've been really very cordial and very informative, energetic. I'm like, I can just go on with those adjectives. So can I just call Nandini Aragar to share her vote of thanks?
Yeah. So good evening, one and all. Yeah, good evening, one and all. It's been one of the most exciting and energetic sessions NGPL has ever had. On behalf of the entire team of NGPL and Pre-Sense, I take pride in thanking our distinguished speakers, Mrs. Priyaka Chaturvedi ji, Member of Parliament, and Mr. Mohan Naidu, Member of Parliament, for sharing their thoughts, experiences, and their strengths that stands pivotal to be a good leader with the right attitude. The seamless and straight from heart conversations of our speakers will be our checklist and guiding factor for all youngsters to stand as tall leaders. I thank all our audiences on Zoom, Twitter, YouTube, and website to have watched us live. On behalf of NGPL and all attendees of this webinar, I thank the speakers for this wonderful session. Jai Hind.
Thank you. And Nandini, can you just unmute everybody so that we can surely, we will have to give a round of applause for this beautiful panelist we have today.
Yes, I'm just doing that. Yeah.
Could all our participants please unmute and a round of applause to our wonderful speakers today. It was lovely to have them, and it is so energetic to see wonderful words from you all. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. I'm like, we're really overwhelmed with your presence today, and I'm sure you will really, live up to our expectations and stand as a tall leader.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Prime point, sir. Srinivasan, sir.
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Can we conclude?
Yes, please conclude. Please.
Right, ma'am. So thank you so much. Thank you, all our participants. Thank you, Ramohan, sir. Thank you, Priyaka, ma'am. Thank you, all our viewers. Thanks for your questions. We're really very sorry we couldn't post all of those. I'm sure these questions will again pull up to your Twitter accounts. So you will have.
Before Priya, before you close, then next announcement also I'll make it. The next meetings.
Sir?
Next, Priya, Priya, I request all please mute your mic. Priya, I will make announcement for the next meeting. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Priya,
you are audible, sir.
Priya, I'll make the announcement for the next meeting. Are you
Yes.
able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. On 18th of, on 25th of this month, we are starting a new series, Saturday Talk, evening 5 to 5:45. And that we will be calling on the expert, and one of our anchors will be interviewing on many topics. The first session will be with Madam Susan Koshi, former general manager of IDBI, on how to prepare and face job interviews. And on then next week, we will have how to choose courses instead of engineering, any core sciences. Professor Jagannathan will be taking it. For that, next week, I'll be talking about the educational loan, the procedures and other things. That the series will be going on for some time. That is from next week, 25th, Saturday Talk, 5 to 5:45. On 27th, we are going to have a 5th anniversary of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, jointly with Global Mission United States, Silicon Valley, Indian Indian audience there, and morning 7 o'clock, and Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal is going to be the chief guest. We are going to have a lot of eminent people are going to join there. That is at 7 o'clock on the 27th early morning. For them, it is 26th evening, 6:30 at Silicon Valley. Okay, over to Priya.
Yeah, I think, sir, she's got disconnected possibly, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can call it a day. Thanks a lot for the wonderful evening. And those who want to give the feedback, please put it in the chat box. We'll be happy to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Priyanka madam, and thank you, Ram Mohan Naidu garu.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.